Well, hello. Welcome to my presentation. I am Jade Compton speaking. I am a sociology major from the sociology department. And today is April 2nd, 2022. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you guys are looking at right now. Let's go ahead and get started. Who are you listening to? Well, I will repeat it. Hi, everyone. I am Jay Compton, and welcome to my senior capstone presentations. Questions and answers will be at the final slide, so just hold on tight, and we'll get that done for you. To get right into it, into my introduction, let's start off with why this research is important. More so important to me. The significance in the studies to define a relationship between veterans' mental health distresses by racial ethnic differences. I will provide sustainable evidence to establish a solution for veterans' mental health. My research question is, what are the reasons for mental health distress differences amongst veterans of different racial backgrounds? My independent variable is race and ethnicity. Independent variable, mental health distress, serious psychological distress, and my controls of education level, employment, and marital status. Let's move right on. And previous researchers I might butcher these names, please bear with me. Soen, Linda, and Harada. The effects of racial ethnic discriminations on the health status of minority veterans was one of the previous researchers that actually attached me to my research question. Understanding how racial and ethnic situations can affect a person's mental health, let alone a veteran's mental health, by feeling like a minority or just not getting the help and services you need. Moving on, ward, racial and ethnic disparities in U.S. veteran health characteristics. This previous research broke down characteristics of veterans' mental health, like postpartum depression, depression overall, suicide, a lot of dementia and things that just prolong if you're not getting the right treatment. And thirdly, NOE, Schaller, Jackson, and Jordan. Theirs is on veteran and military mental health issues. Basically breaking down the same thing I basically said. I'm going through these PTSD problems after war and not able to figure out where it's coming from, and my understanding if it's more so in certain races or if it's just I guess just it is what it is at this point. I'm sorry. And previous research for number 4, Rosanova Vesvalodo and Veladimir, suicide among war veterans. Even though my research isn't on suicide among war veterans, it was a lot of information I took from this because prior to veterans getting to that ending point, a lot of the same characteristics come up, like the PTSD, the dementia, the depression, the long nights, the sad days, and it just honestly just wrapped everything around, and it was really good research. Moving on to my next slide. To restate my research question from 2 slides ago, what are the reasons for mental health distress differences amongst veterans of different racial backgrounds? It's a lot of questions. That's like a lot of questions in one to me. Just a very quick background. Historically, the provision of mental health has been controversial. Mental health overall has been a problem in the United States and around the world. So due to military service conditions, veterans have been affected mentally and physically because of the harsh treatments in combat, cited in previous researches. Just saying, overall mental health has been controversial. So just break it down to thinking about veterans who actually have been physically and mentally affected by war and combat. A lot of people just have mental issues based off, could be in genetics or trauma, and a lot of these men don't even get help like some of the non-veterans, and it's just something to really look at and understand. And then that's just my theory, my basis of it. Moving on to my hypotheses. I will have 3 hypotheses and 3 no hypotheses. My first alternative hypothesis is based on our black veterans compared to the other races with mental health issues um, have a significant impact on their mental health, like on their own. Does their race affect their mental health? Basically, what I'm asking. And the no hypothesis is there is no correlation between black veterans and mental health and their race. Obviously, you can't be affected mentally just because of your race. Alternative hypothesis 2: veterans' mental health are significantly different based off race and marital status. I thought that was a big thing that I was looking at. Those breaking up, widowed, divorced. I thought that could be an influence as well, and also dealing with discriminations as well. Being an interracial couple, black and white, that could also be a problem and put together. On the hypothesis said there is no correlation between veterans' mental health and different racial backgrounds and marital statuses. So that's numbed up. And then lastly, my hypothesis 3: veterans' mental health are significantly different based off the relationships between employment status and education level. My no hypothesis is there is no correlation between veterans' mental health and their employment status or education level. Let's move on. My analysis and findings. Research methods and data sets. I had a categorical data, more nominal than ordinal. It's like one ordinal, but that's pretty much what that was. My chi-square, which is broken down really, really simple, small numbers. My descriptive statistics, excuse me. That was really numbed down as well. And then I have my crosstabs and my quantitative research overall. So I'm going to move on to the first one, my descriptive statistics. There we go. Got it out that time. Statistics is based off the mental health distress, which is numbed down to sadness, worthlessness, hopelessness, the lack of effort, and that basically numbs up what the mental health distress means. The race, we had 4. We had Caucasians, Black, Hispanic, and Asian. Education level goes the lowest is high school, highest is some college education. Marital status is never married, divorced, separated, and widowed, or all in one, and married. And then employment is unemployed, or employed, or unemployed looking for work, and unemployed not looking for work. So that kind of numbed up a lot of things. And looking overall at this, at the mean, median, and mode, I wasn't really impressed with my numbers, to be honest, especially with the race, with 2 of them being the same, and then education level also varying close. All these numbers were close within each other except the mode. The mode might have been the one thing that was way off to me, and so it kind of makes for a shaky graph, I say. So I wasn't satisfied with the stats I got from my existing data set, but it's okay. My standard deviation was very low, so this is a lot about what's come up here and why my hypothesis is also so wrong, just based off looking. And not a lot to say there, but I can move on from that. And as well as that crosstab and tri-square for race and mental health distress, I wanted to put those 2 together to see how they combine. Sorry, I missed one. Nervousness was also another mental health distress that my data set put together based off their mental health. So going across the board, Hispanics was pretty even, except the 1 point different from that everything is an effort. The whites were 2 sad, 4 hopelessness, 4 worthlessness, 3 that is an effort, and 3 nervousness. Black was pretty low on sadness, kind of high on hopelessness, worthlessness, like a 2, and the everything is an effort is a 5, and nervousness was 4. Asians is 3 for sadness, hopelessness was 4, and worthlessness was 2. Everything's an effort is 3, nervousness was 4. Those numbers are pretty close to and really low, as well as the tri-square testing, as you can see, 6.467, likelihood of a ratio was very low. Everything was really low in this data set, and wasn't impressed. And it's the evidence I got from it. So it is what it is. I'm guessing from here. So let's move on to the next one. To crosstab 2 with race, mental health, distress, and education level all together. I wanted to see how they all vary out, which is pretty low numbers as well. High school diploma or GED or less. Hispanics had more sadness than anyone. We're pretty even with the Asians about that. And then worthlessness as 3 for their high. The white and blacks, they were pretty low in this. The blacks didn't have a lot of sadness, but there was hopelessness there. Moving on to some colleges, Hispanics 1 sadness, whites 1 sad at all, or Asians and 1 black. And then the numbers just keep coming down from there. And then you have the bachelor ones, they're really low, 1 1. And then you have the whites 1 1 0, black 0 1 1. Everything's just pretty much low in the overall. And then the education level on the chi-square test. The person chi-square was 10.5, which was kind of value, not really. It's not really good stats. But this is the information I have gotten. We'll move right on. And then thirdly, the race, mental health, distress, and marital status. I want to see all that together. I was kind of shocked that married or living with a partner, Hispanic had 4 for sadness. You would expect to be happy. But I'm guessing not. But widow, divorced, separated, they have 0. And then also 0 were never married, so they had the highest one on the sadness. And everybody pretty levels out pretty much the same with the numbers. It's either 1, 2, 0, not a lot of threes here and there. And also we have an 11.7 for the married value. Actually went up. So slowly but surely it's getting there. And then moving on to my last crosstab and chi-square for race, mental health, distress, and employment. I wanted all those together, only broken down from sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. I wanted to see how that all correlated together. Does the fact that you're black put strain on you, and then what if you're unemployed? Does that also cause problems with your mental health as well? It's more sadness for employed, which is really weird. The Hispanics were high on both not employed and employed in sadness. And so, as you can see, there can be a little effect there when it comes to your mental health, your occupation, and things like that. So that's a really good thing to understand and know. And as well, the chart value was really low. Not really impressed with that, but move on and conclude this. My conclusion, Urban's mental health due to the p-value. My hypothesis was rejected from my alternative hypothesis 1. The null hypothesis should be supported due to no relationship between independent and dependent variables. This means that veterans' mental health is not affected by racial differences. Mental health distress. For alternative hypothesis 2, veterans' mental health is not affected by race or marital status due to the p-value, rejecting my hypothesis. No hypothesis should be accepted. Lastly, alternative hypothesis 3 is also rejected due to the p-value. The no hypothesis should be accepted. Overall, my 3 hypotheses were wrong. Completely wrong. It's always a disappointment. You always want to be right. Can't always be right. So, overall, I was wrong. But I was kind of shocked looking at the numbers and how low they were. And just the outcomes, really. I really expected the blacks to be more affected by the mental health issues, but it was more Hispanics than anything with the sadness. So that was a high one on here. But to move on, we have come to a stopping point in my presentation. I'd like to thank you for your time and attention. Any comments or questions, definitely can throw some down there, and I will be able to respond to you as quickly as possible. And I thank you so much for your time and effort and actually sitting and listening and watching my presentation. Everyone has a good one. Thank you so much.